Greetings, NFL fans. Today is Thursday, November 13th, 2014. This is the Shutdown Corner podcast. I am Kevin Kaduk here with Frank Schwab and Jay Busbee, taping a day early because Jay is heading down to NASCARville in, I don't know, Miami or something.
Wee doggy.
They're crowning a champion, and if you were to offer me $5,000 to say who the favorite is, I would have no idea. I would guess. Hey, let me guess real quick. I would say Brad Keselowski.
You would be wrong.
Wow.
Oh.
Is it Jeff Gordon?
No, you'd both be wrong.
Is it Richard Petty?
Yes, it is Richard Petty. No, Keselowski, that would be like pulling for the New England Patriots to win last year's Super Bowl. They were eliminated, both Keselowski and Gordon, before the final round. So, yeah, I'm covering that. I'm covering Florida State, Miami on Saturday night. So it'll be a good weekend of football and racing. Nothing to do with the NFL, I'm afraid.
Well,
you're missing a good week.
I am.
This is like the absolute worst week for you to take off.
It absolutely is. Yeah, like I said on Tuesday, that I'm going to have a little. I'm going to have my red zone running on my computer in the media center at the race on Sunday, without a doubt.
So, which game are you going to miss the most? I mean, there's like 6 or 7 pretty good games. Five solid, bona fide.
Yeah.
These make, and then you kind of throw in the Bengals and Saints and the Browns and Texans just because of storylines. But which of those? I mean, which one out there are you going to miss?
I'm looking right now. It's going to be probably Eagles Packers, because I want to see what those. I like both of those teams. I like both of their offenses. I want to see what they're going to be doing, and that's going to be right in the wheelhouse of when the race is going on. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to be like a student sneaking a TV into the classroom back in high school, and not get caught by my NASCAR media brethren watching football.
Do you listen to those race feeds between the pit and the skybox and the driver? Do they ever say, "Oh, hey, your favorite team is up 17-3"? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
For real?
Absolutely. Dale Jr. is very famous. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is famous for being a Redskins fan, and he's always asking when they don't do it during the race. You know, they've got other things on their mind. But when there's a caution flag, when somebody's wrecked and they're kind of driving around waiting for things to get cleaned up, Jr. is famous for not only asking about the Redskins, but asking how his fantasy team is doing. So
really,
he's very engaged in that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this because I love that about NASCAR, though, that you could hear that. Like, if they, maybe I've brought this up before because I've had this thought for many, many years. If they had a special channel, like maybe just a one-time thing even, where, let's say Sunday night, they had Andrew Luck mic'd up the whole game, and you could just listen to Andrew Luck live, you'd watch that, right? You'd watch the whole 3 hours of Andrew Luck, just what he says in a huddle, what he says in this. I would. I'd be enthralled.
I think it's going that way. I mean, we're already seeing that where they're selecting stuff, but I think when you're talking now about stuff like Google Glass and the on-field microphones, it's got to be going that way because that's the next logical area.
They're so paranoid about strategy. Like maybe if there was a way to I was thinking about this too yesterday when I watched a little bit of the World Series of Poker this week, and I had very little. I don't like the way they've done it, but. Yeah, I mean, if you could delay it or mute the play call, maybe I don't know, or mute because there's so much that there is stuff that they don't want out there. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts don't want a 3-hour recording of all their play calls, or audibles. I mean, that's not something.
That's interesting. Like, what if they released it on Tuesday night? I bet that would do.
I know I'd watch. I'd be enthralled because when we see these mic'd up, what happens is they mic them for the whole game, obviously. And then I think they cut it down. They know what to take out, the play calls and all that. And then they show the PR guy for that team. Like if it's the Carson Palmer mic'd up, they show the Arizona Cardinals PR guy. Here's what we got. And he can basically say no, 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 yes, no, yes, 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 no. I mean, he can basically edit it for them. And then they go with what they go with. And, we don't hear the best stuff, obviously. Sometimes we do. But I'd love to hear an uncut 3 hours Tom Brady mic'd up. I think that would be just unbelievable. Or even like a middle linebacker or a coach or anybody. I think it would be phenomenal. It'd just be awesome to watch.
Yeah, that kind of in the moment involvement is something that the NFL would just make absolute bank with. There's not really an easy way, I guess, to get around the live nature of it because there's so much information. With NASCAR, they have a what they call Channel 2 where they can switch over to, and it's not heard by everyone. But with NASCAR, you pay for it, you pay extra for it, and then you get all the cussing, you get all the screaming, you get the drivers yelling at each other. That son of a bitch went and cut me off. It's perfect.
God, that's the best thing. That's like that almost makes me want to watch NASCAR.
Yeah, it's good
really
stuff.
Like that's awesome. That is. I've always thought that the NFL's not incredibly fan friendly that way. It's always the only enduring legacy of the XFL, which was whatever it was that they really seemed to say, how can we take it a step further in the NFL and give us. We'll put cameras in a huddle. We'll mic up everybody. We'll do this and that. I think that's the one good thing the XFL tried to do. Of course, the league sucked, but I would be all for it. But coaches would hate it, and they would literally pick it outside Roger Goodell's office.
I think we're more likely to see this from a different league, even baseball or NBA or NHL, something where they have to do it. NFL doesn't have to do this, so they're still going to get ratings. But baseball, I mean,
baseball would be so
there,
boring. God, can you imagine listening to like
lots of spitting
pitching coach mic'd up for 3 hours? Like,
I don't know the mound. You'd like to hear the mound stuff.
I'd like to hear some of it. Yeah. I think they had an umpire mic'd up once for a game, and that was kind of interesting. Clips they showed anyway. That was interesting. That would be interesting. Like a home plate ump for a full game. Listen to him and the catcher go at it for 3 hours.
You would need to just have like 3 beep buttons because you would break them with all the cussing that went on. There's just no way that you could release that to the public. Baseball players are the filthiest of any sport.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It'd be a lot of spitting too that you'd have to somehow filter out.
Who would be the best?
What's on this microphone? Tobacco
Who would
juice.
be the best NFL player to mic up, unfiltered, for an entire game?
You need somebody that's just going to be. I mean, the obvious answer is
just
Richard
talking
Sherman.
trash every single play. Yeah, it'd have to be Sherman, right? That would have to be it. Yeah, I think it'd be Sherman.
James Harrison.
God. Harrison would be awesome. Yeah, I can imagine the stuff he's saying down there. Jeez.
I'd like to mic up Ray Lewis like right now in the booth, just see what he's screaming at the TV during broadcasts.
He had a nice hat the other night, but the hat he wore on Monday Night Football, you didn't see it? It's like a derby hat. It was really, it was so out of place, but yet it was kind of cool at the same time.
I block out a lot of Ray Lewis memories, so you'll have to excuse me. Let's talk a little bit about this slate. The big one, I think, Jay was talking about Eagles-Packers, but I am looking forward to that Pats-Colts game. It is the third time that Andrew Luck is going to face the Patriots. He has not won against them yet, and he has not looked good either. Let me run some stats by you. 2 years ago, his first meeting, the Colts lose 59-24. Oof. Luck throws for 334 yards. Pretty good, right? Not really. 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, completed less than half of his passes. So not a good look in his opener against the Colts. Then last year, of course, they met in that playoff game, and we probably sat here and said, hey, what a great passing of the torch game. We were all excited for it, and we're all into it. And then it went out, and I think it was probably one of the more forgettable games of that entire playoff run. It was like over before it even really started. 43-22, Luck throws for 331 yards, but again, 4 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns. So Luck has a little to prove. Of course, if he goes out and loses to these Patriots, it's not a black mark. It's not saying he's never going to lose, but also not a great start to go 0-3 against Patriots top level competition like that. I think this is probably something that Andrew Luck really wants to do and put his name on the board. Question is, can he do it?
At home, maybe. The Colts are a different team at home, not exactly like Saints level, schizophrenia, but they're a good team at home. This is a great game. I mean, if it was in New England, I don't think it would be as interesting as I think we'd all pick the Patriots. But the Colts at home are tough. Andrew Luck is playing much better than he has the last 2 years. I do think that Belichick really, and this is just a guess, I don't know, but he really enjoys these type of weeks where you're going against a great quarterback and you have to figure out how to stop him because he brings such great, I mean, we saw what he did against Peyton Manning a couple weeks ago and most times against Peyton Manning, to be honest. I think he just brings it for these kind of games. Like, how do I stop this offense? The Colts have scored the most points in the NFL. Andrew Luck has the most passing yards in the NFL. Great home team, a good team overall, and the Patriots are the hottest team in football at very least. So, Great game, just great. And I do think that at some point Andrew Luck needs that kind of signature win. I guess they beat the Broncos last year at home in regular season, but to take the next step and really get into our consciousness as like, oh, this is an MVP this year, maybe. I think Andrew Luck would like to win a game like this.
Do you think he needs to win it to win that MVP?
You probably, yeah, at some point.
Take it from Tom Brady.
Yeah, because you got to take it from Tom Brady at this point. I think he's kind of the consensus. So a win like this would do, and not to mention the playoff ramifications. We're talking about, okay, if the Colts win, the Colts are 6-3, Patriots 7-2. The Colts win this, they tie the Patriots and have the tiebreaker, and the Colts have a much easier schedule down the stretch. So this could end up being, we're looking back on December, on Christmas Day, saying, wow, the Colts are going to get the number 2 seed in a bye, and the Patriots are going to have to play in the first round because of that game on Sunday night when. That's how much this one means.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see if Luck is able to play, not just in a situation where he has to come from behind like he had to do in the playoff game last year, but if he can get out to an early lead. That seems like the way the Patriots have been operating is trying to absolutely bury opponents in the first few minutes of the game and then riding it out from there. If the Colts are able to withstand, say, that first quarter, even a touchdown ahead, they're going to be in a lot better shape than if they let the Patriots just run out in front of them.
Of course, it's hard to sit here, though, and not think about that Colts game against the Steelers where Roethlisberger completely picked them apart. And Roethlisberger did not have Rob Gronkowski. So what did the Colts have to counter Gronk? Nobody does, but
Nothing.
The Colts have. I mean, are we going to look at? Are we going to be sitting here and say on Monday morning and say, "Wow, Rob Gronkowski, X catches for 115 yards and 4 touchdowns"? Not 4.
I think so. I mean, I just look at this Colts team, and I did. I looked at, I looked at their defense. I looked at what they've done against other, and it's just like, I don't know how you guard Rob Gronkowski at this point, unless you have like a super stud, strong safety that can try. I mean, and even the Broncos tried that a little bit with T.J. Ward, and Gronkowski just tossed around T.J. Ward. I mean, you got to remember, even the best strong safety in the NFL weighs 215, 220. Rob Gronkowski outweighs him by 45 pounds. He just can shove him out of the way whenever he wants. I don't know how the Colts. They're not going to beat him because they shut down Rob Gronkowski. Let's put it that way. I think that even to limit him to maybe 80 yards would be they would take it.
How do you shut down? How does any team going forward from here right on through to February? How does any team shut down Gronkowski, or is it just kind of a let him beat us and focus on shutting down everyone else?
I think you got to bracket him and make the other. I think you got to bracket him, single the other guys, and make sure that hope that Brandon LaFell doesn't beat single coverage or whoever, Julian Edelman or whatever. I think that we've seen Gronk even beat double teams. He doesn't care. He's just that good, and Brady and him are just so in sync that it doesn't matter. But it's almost impossible. That's why I think when we talk about MVP and all that, I'm not even sure Brady's the Patriots MVP. I just wonder if it's Gronk because he's the guy right now. And somebody asked me on Twitter, this is kind of a different topic, but it's the same. Somebody asked me on Twitter the other day about trading for Gronkowski, and I said, or trading Gronkowski away for somebody, a running back or something. I said, I don't think there's one player in the NFL I'd trade for Gronkowski in fantasy right now. I wouldn't trade Gronkowski for. Like, he's the number one guy right now. If I had Gronkowski in fantasy, I wouldn't trade him for anybody. That'd be the guy. And I think it's kind of that way in the NFL, too. He's just that good.
It's so crazy. I mean, you think about position scarcity and what the drop-off is from the number 1 tight end to number 2 or even number 3. I mean, Gronkowski is just...
He's on pace for like a 1,700-yard season or something like that. It's something, or maybe since like he got healthy like a week 4 through 9, his pace is 1,700 yards or whatever it is. He is playing at an unbelievable rate right now. And I think he's the guy.
How normal he's making Jimmy Graham look this year.
Right, yeah. Anybody, Julius Thomas or Greg Olsen or any of them. And I think that the Colts have to at least don't give up the 3 touchdown, 120-yard day to Gronk. Hold him to 80, maybe a touchdown, and then let Andrew Luck do his thing and beat him that way.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one to watch. We talked about that having a lot of impact on that AFC bye playoff race. Lions and Cardinals on the other side of the country has just as much the NFC. Do you think that these two teams, it's like one or the other for the bye, and the Eagles and Packers sneak in and get that other bye, or can the loser of this game still taking?
I think so. It may be tougher in the Lions case just because they'd be two behind and the tiebreaker. The Lions-Cardinals game is interesting to me because I think this is Drew Stanton's game. I think this is, okay, you're playing the number one defense in the NFL. You have the advantage of being home, but you get the full week of reps. You know it's your team the rest of the way. Can you go out, throw for 250 yards, get Fitzgerald going, get Floyd going? I think that a lot of Cardinals fans have this unwavering support of Drew Stanton. I mean, literally, I've heard from him all week. Trust me, I dropped him in the power rankings. I knew it was coming, but they don't seem to think that Carson Palmer to Drew Stanton means anything. They just, hey, what are you talking about? Quarterback change? Who cares? Like, well, it does matter, but this is the game. If Stanton goes out there and plays well and they beat the Lions, they should feel that way about Drew Stanton. That's why I think this game is pretty fascinating.
Here's my Drew Stanton question. This is for you, Kevin. Drew Stanton's wife just had a baby girl this week, about 5 days ago, or 5 days before the game. Okay. Would you be able to quarterback an NFL team, being a new father, 5 days after your child was born?
Well, I think that'd be a pretty nice excuse to say I don't want to get up for the midnight feeding. I'm preparing for the Lions, honey. This is my professional future. This is millions of dollars on the line. So
you don't do that already. Say, honey, I'm prepared for this
I'm
weekend's
preparing
game.
for the shutdown.
Millions of dollars.
No,
yes.
I'm doing podcast research. It doesn't quite fly the same, but I don't know. LeBron. I don't know if you guys saw it last night, but LeBron James was actually tweeting overnight. Him trying to get his new daughter back to sleep was actually kind of funny. So if it happens to LeBron James, it's happening to Drew Stanton too. Yeah. But my brother actually asked me that question a couple of weeks ago. He said, if you were a new father and you had a playoff game coming up, or you were in the middle of the playoffs, would you go and stay in a hotel? I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was your answer, and was it in the presence of your wife?
Does Mary?
I think those guys are staying in hotels anyway. So I don't know. And Drew Stanton's it is a home game, so he can't really go. He'd probably check into the Tempe courtyard. Why not?
Yeah, get himself a nice continental breakfast, a little folded egg there. That'd go over well.
I don't know. What's your guys' answer?
I don't know. I think
put me on the spot.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a good question because I do think you just get out of the midnight feeding at that point. Yeah, you're hey, I got a game on Sunday.
You think this? Here's probably the real question: did this have an impact on the Vegas line?
I haven't even, to be honest, I haven't even seen a Vegas line for this game. I assume that it's got to be Cardinals by 3.
It is. Where is it? Yeah, where is it? I've got it.
What else would it be? And
it's Cardinals by 2 across the board.
2. Okay, so not a whole lot of respect for Stanton. This game's fascinating to me. It is another game where I think it's almost inevitable that the Packers pass the Lions at some point. I do. I mean, obviously, if you've read my power rankings, you know I don't really like the Lions all that much. So both teams interesting, great game, fun game. And it's going on at the same time as Packers-Eagles, which
I hate that. Hate it.
Yeah. It's who's gonna be? I mean, in the same window, it's Eagles-Packers, Lions-Cardinals, Raiders-Chargers. Who's watching Raiders-Chargers? Really?
Yeah. Not even the Raiders.
There's no real great anchor for the first round. Maybe Bengals-Saints, which I said you kind of had in there, but I could see that being a Saints walk after last week and what the Bengals have been doing and the way it's almost been playing.
Seahawks. Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, it's probably a better. It's not a. I'd rather see, I guess, Packers-Eagles than Seahawks-Chiefs, but Seahawks-Chiefs is a pretty good game. Yeah. I kind of think that's another game where I mean, we all make too much of one game. Talking about like Drew Stanton in this game. Drew Stanton could play great against the Lions and stink the rest of the season. Who knows? But this is one of those. The Chiefs, I'm sure, want to kind of get back on the radar. Nobody's talking about them. The show there for real. I'm sure the Seahawks want to be, they don't want to go to 4 losses. They're in danger of missing a playoffs at this point. So if that happens, that's kind of a big proving game too. That one at Arrowhead.
Well, the thing is, we couldn't have known even a few weeks ago that Lions Cardinals was going to be any sort of a decent game. I was asked this on radio earlier this week. Why do these big games suck so badly? It's because we don't know which team is going to show up from week to week, and so we don't have these when they set up the schedule. You look at the schedule. Bengals Saints is going to be a great one, and Lions Cardinals is going to be a dud. Turns out to be the exact opposite.
Yeah, we've had a lot. I mean, I'm really, really worried almost about this Patriots Colts game in that let us not have like some 42-7 blowout in a primetime game. Can we just get that once? Is that okay? Is that okay for us to see a really classic primetime game?
Yeah, you got to make up for having Steelers-Titans on Monday night.
I was going to say, how did that one sneak through?
ESPN can't flex out of that one.
ESPN can't get good games, and that's the thing. Some of these games we look at, okay, it made sense in April when you made this. It just turns out one of the teams stunk. When did we think Steelers-Titans was going to be a good game? Like, there's no point when you wouldn't have made the schedule in April where they were like, yeah, Steelers-Titans is going to be awesome. That's going to be, everybody's going to want to watch that.
Does every team have to have a national televised game? Is that still a rule?
They do, but they stick most of them on Thursday, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Titans are definitely a Thursday team.
Yeah, put them on Thursday when maybe we could put like an extra game on Thursday when nobody's paying attention. Like,
throw a
11 a.m.
Throw a Titans Jaguars game there during lunch hour. Which would actually be awesome, a Thursday afternoon football game. It'd be like March Madness.
Yes, I love a total tangent, but I love midday games. Any sport, anytime, on a Wednesday at noon, if it's like the Maui Invitational.
That's why we all went crazy about the World Cup this year.
I love the World Cup this year.
Of course, because it was on during while we were working.
Exactly. Yes. If it was on during like prime time, I'd be like, World
and
Cup.
Yet I don't tune into like those weird Tuesday. I guess they're not weird Tuesday afternoon games because they're actually at night. But I never watched the EPL games that are on like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. I guess that's an untapped market for me too. I can get a lot of midday action that way.
Yeah. So the other game that's has a lot of implications is Bills-Dolphins. I don't want to break it down too much because a lot of people probably will be listening to this podcast after this game. Do you guys have any general thoughts about this without completely selling ourselves out or looking stupid in 24 hours?
I think if you've already seen the outcome of the game, you already know what team is in a lot of trouble. Because 5-5 in that AFC is looking really bad. You're probably going to have to win, 5 of your last 6 to get in, and that's not easy. Especially, I know the Bills and Dolphins probably both have. I'm almost positive they both have games against the Patriots coming up. So that's probably your one loss, and you got to win the rest. So it's a real if you lose this game, you are probably not going to the playoffs.
What we need to do is record 3 different versions here for each team, and then we'll just drop it in based on whichever team wins, and we'll look like geniuses.
Yeah, a lot of work, Jay.
Either team that comes out of this one is going to be in a slight better advantage, but at the moment, I'm not seeing much of an edge. At the moment, the line is Dolphins 5.5 to 6 at home.
Seems high to me.
Yeah, that to me too.
Especially without Brandon Albert, their left tackle, and they got to go with the rookie first-round pick over there. Left tackle now, which he looked great against the Lions, but let's see. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very interesting game.
All right. Well, let's do our picks for the week. We've already talked a lot about these games, so there'll probably be some repetitiveness, but I haven't also talked about the dogs. So let's do our upset of the week, our lock of the week, and the game we would pay to see starting now. Frank, let's go with your lock of the week.
I mean, is it too unfair to go Chargers over Raiders? Do we have to almost have a rule of we have to eliminate who's playing the Raiders? Is that?
Yeah, it's like our own suicide pool. You can only pick the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders are kind of off the board, but right. I don't know. Other than that, it's probably the Steelers, I guess. But how do you even know what to expect out of the Steelers at this point? Who knows? I don't know. I'm glad, unlike we were talking beforehand, Mr. Kevin Kaduk has a survivor pool pick left. I'm glad I don't this week because I'm so glad I was eliminated weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
It is
because this week is awful for that. This week is awful for that.
Yeah. You're looking at like the Redskins over the Buccaneers, which is like, who knows what you're going to get from either of those teams. You're really going to stake your life on a 3-6 Redskins team.
Yeah, I'm taking a game we haven't talked about yet, the 49ers and the Giants. I think that the 49ers, they went into New Orleans, they won there, they've proven they can win on the road. This is every game from here on out is critical for the 49ers. They cannot afford to lose any more ground. The Giants, meanwhile, they're starting to fall apart. Tom Coughlin's face gets a deeper shade of red every week. I think that this is a team that's in a lot of trouble, and I would be very surprised if we see a whole lot of this Giants team back next year.
Yeah. Last week I went with the lock of the week, Saints over 49ers. That did not work out thanks to the flopping abilities of Parrish Cox. Thanks for making me look stupid. But I'm going back to the Saints again. I think the Bengals have just been bad. I think they're probably going to head towards a spiral. Bernard is still hurt. Andy Dalton, I think I read, has the worst quarterback rating since like week 2 or something. Dalton does not look good. I just don't see a lot of good things for that Bengals team, especially not in the Dome. So I'm picking the Saints, and I think the Saints need this win. I think they get it done. Upset of the week.
Can I go with whoever you pick in your survivor pool? Because I go with the other team. Probably whoever you pick. I'm just gonna go. You know, I don't. I picked the other team on our picks, but all week, and let's put it this way. I don't think I would do this straight up, but this game interests me. I kind of think the Eagles win at Lambeau. I don't have the chutzpah to go and pick that on a video, which I do with Sean King every week, but I kind of just get this feeling like the Eagles are that team right now, and they're going to go in there and somehow pull off this upset. I don't.
Wait a minute. You won't make the same pick here that you would on a video? Why?
I don't know. I just because at the end of the day, it's really, really, really hard to pick against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. He's on like a streak.
Why does the medium matter? If you're going to pick it out,
I don't know. I just in the moment earlier this week, I couldn't do it. I don't know that I'm seriously putting this down as a pick and pen or anything, but I'm just saying if the Eagles game is going to be a lot better than I think some people think. I think the Eagles are just getting on a roll right now, and they're going to roll right through the playoffs.
You're more scared of Sean King than you are of us, isn't that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts as an upset, but I'm taking the Pats over the Colts. The Colts are favored by 3 at the moment. I think that the Patriots, for all the reasons that we described, are going to take this one. It will, as you said, Frank, hopefully not be a blowout, a 42-7 blowout, but I'm going to take the Patriots.
I'm picking the Bears over the Vikings. I don't care if
ride it, man, ride or die.
I don't care if they are the favorite team. The Bears winning this week would be an upset. Bears winning.
I really would at this point. I did pick the Bears. I think the Bears are going to. If you have any pride in the world at all in your job and your performance, don't you come out this week and play well? Like.
You'd have to think so. And Adrian Peterson's his hearing is going to happen Monday, so he's not going to be back this Sunday. And Jerick McKinnon, is that guy really going to run over you? Matt Asiata, you got to be able to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
if Jerick McKinnon has a day against you, that's not going to be good. But yeah, well, I guess we'll be watching that. The Bears, it's a sad state of affairs there. I don't even know what to think, but. Yeah, maybe they'll run the table and go 10-6 too. So you never know. I do know they won't.
It's not going to happen.
All right, game you would pay to see. It's not the Vikings Bears. Who would it be?
No, it's not. I mean, I'd probably actually pick Eagles Packers. I think it's a good game. I think it's fun. I know. I'll let you guys go to Patriots Colts. I'll just watch that one later. But yeah. I think Eagles Packers is.
This is like such a silly exercise this week because there's so many great games, and it's like, but then how are you not going to go Patriots Colts? Because I'm sitting here thinking, is it Sunday night yet? Because we're just talking about the game. I'm excited about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, there are some phenomenal games this week.
I'm going to go on StubHub and I'm going to pay $3 and I'm going to go to Falcons Panthers. That's what I'm going to do. No, I picked Eagles Pack for the same reasons that you did. I like watching both of these offenses, like I said before, and I think this is going to be an excellent lead into the Sunday night game.
Too bad you're going to be watching it because you're going to be at a NASCAR race.
Yeah, I know. Just come on, finish up, boys. I want to watch some football.
Yeah, I'm going with Patriots Colts. There's nothing else. The Lions-Cardinals. Like I've talked about this on the podcast before. I love watching those afternoon games at Arizona. I love that atmosphere. I love those fans. I love that stadium. It actually seems like the Cardinals. Like for some reason, it seems like the Cardinals have played every single game at home, and I know that's not true because they went into Dallas and had that big win. But it does seem like. Yeah.
Buccaneers Redskins was unclaimed. If you want to take that one, if you want to go check out the Buccaneers Redskins this week,
you might actually get paid to go to that game.
I believe that's a Jay who a couple of weeks ago wanted to go watch a Vikings Redskins game.
Yeah, why not, man?
The college atmosphere in Dinky.
I will never live that one down.
All right. Well, it's a great slate of action this week. Everyone enjoy it. We'll be back here on Tuesday to talk about it, and we can maybe talk a little of the racing that JC's, but probably more football because there'll be a lot to dissect. There'll be a lot of teams going up, a lot of teams going down. I want to say this is Separation Sunday. I want to say this is Elimination Sunday, but it's probably the best one you're going to get before the first week of the playoffs. So Everyone out there have a good time. This has been the Shutdown Corner podcast. I am Kevin Kaduk, here with Frank Schwab and Jay Busbee. We thank you for listening, and we will see you soon.